The Link Show is just about to start. If you want to be a part of The Link Show, head over to linkkids.com.au/live.
Today on The Link Show, it is our last week on the series, My Way or God's Way.
We've also got one last week for me to beat Miguel in movie versus Bible quotes. He's only 1 point ahead.
Not gonna happen, but we'll also be linking in with kids all around the world and reading your shoutouts, all that and more.
Let's get linked!
If you listen, Big.
Welcome back to The Link Show, where we love linking in with you, learning about
Jokes! Jokes.
Mate.
We're learning about jokes, right? We're doing jokes. Why did no one hear about the opening of the new library?
I don't know.
Because it was hush hush. Oh, you get it?
No.
Because you have to be quiet in the library.
Bad.
I don't know, librarians always tell me to keep quiet when I'm in the library, so...
What do I? Alright, Link Crew, tell me. It's our last week. You gotta have some better jokes. Let's go hear them, Buckle.
Hey, Buckle here, and let's read some of your shoutouts. We have Neo saying, we love the games, and also a special shout out to Zara and Isla. We love it when you shout your friends out. We think that is pretty cool. Danielle is saying, hey Buckle, we love the videos. Keep up the good work. We love making the videos as well, so thanks for the kind words. And lastly, we have Austin saying, what did the rope say to the other rope? You're a little bit naughty. Very, very nice. Thanks for sending your shoutouts, but let's go check out Preach Part 1. Hey Link Kids, we are at one of my local playgrounds where our kids and I love to drive to come and play. And we're here today because I want to tell you a story. There's something cool about this playground in that there's actually a heap of trees around the place that you can climb. Now, climbing trees was one of my favorite things to do when I was younger. I used to climb the trees at my grandparents' house. I used to climb the trees at my house. We had a big rainforesty sort of garden at the front of our house, and I could climb up about 20 meters on some of these trees, like crazy high, and I could see over the tops of all of the surrounding houses. It was absolutely amazing. And even me and my friends used to go to local parks, not to play on the play equipment, but instead to climb the trees. It didn't matter if that was like a $20,000 playground. If there was a tree, I was in the tree. But I remember one of the first times learning to climb a tree, and I did it with my dad. So I started climbing this tree, and I'm holding on nice and tight, and I'm trying to get my way up nice and high, when all of a sudden, I had a little bit of a slip, but I catch myself, but then I panicked. Because I was little, this was one of my first times climbing a tree, and I freaked out. I had a full-on panic attack, and I closed my eyes. I wouldn't open them. I gripped onto the branch, and I'm hanging upside down on this tree, and it was crazy. And I'm like calling out for my dad, who was there with me watching, and I'm like, Dad, I'm stuck. I'm gonna fall. Help. Dad, help. I'm stuck. And so my dad, being awesome, comes over to where I am, and he calls to me, and he's like, Buckle, it's fine. Let go. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? If I let go, I'm gonna fall and fall and fall and fall, and I'm gonna smash onto the ground. I'm too high up. It's too scary. Like, I hadn't even looked down. My eyes were shut. I had no idea how high up this tree I had gotten. But in my head, I thought I was so far up that my dad couldn't even reach me. But I'm up in this tree and I'm like, Dad, help, what do I do? And he's like, just listen to me, trust me, do what I say, you're going to be fine, let go. And I'm like, no way, it's too, I'm not doing it. And he's like, trust me, let go. And so eventually I'm like, all right. And I let go. And as soon as I let go, I already felt my dad's hands then on me. And I opened my eyes and I realized that the tree branch that I had been hanging on was only about this far off the ground. I probably could have let go with my feet and touched the ground on my own. Yeah, I had panicked at the lowest branch without realizing it, but I was little, so there was a reason for it. But there was a lesson to this story. I said to my dad, why didn't you just tell me that I was at the bottom? And he's like, I didn't just want to tell you, I wanted you to learn that you can trust what I say even when it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to normally let go in a tree and fall, because if you let go if you are high in a tree, it doesn't make sense. But in that moment, in that situation, my dad wanted me to know that I could trust what he said because he was going to look after me and he knew what was coming. You see, in that moment, my dad had a better picture, a better idea of what was going on than I could. My vision was so blocked that I couldn't even see that I was already close to the ground. But my dad could see it all. And so in that moment, I didn't need to come up with my own ideas or my own strategy. All I needed to do was listen to my dad, trust him, and obey what he said. And when I did that, everything worked out fine. You see, there's times in our lives when it seems like trusting God is the wrong thing to do. It just doesn't make sense. It's like, Dad, you're telling me to let go in a tree. If I do that, I'm going to get hurt. It doesn't make sense. I think that's the wrong thing to do. But when we actually trust God and do it, it turns out God knew what was coming. God had a plan all along, and always trusting God, even when it doesn't make sense, is the right thing to do. And so that's what we're going to talk about a little later on today, that it is always the right thing to trust God, and that we should always trust and obey. But we'll talk about that a little later on.
Alright, welcome back. We're going to do our game, Bible versus movie quotes.
And remember, you guys can play along. It is our last week. So, if it's the Bible, do this. And if it's a movie, do that. Remember, your teachers and your leaders are watching you, so be honest and be truthful. But, Lockie, let's get into it. What is our first question?
All right, just so you remember as well, whoever can guess what movie these are from or what book of the Bible these quotes are from gets an extra point.
I'm ready.
All right, the first quote. First pride, then the crash. The bigger the ego, the harder the fall.
Oh, see, now that sounds like it's from, like, the Message translation.
Oh, we're
Not
getting
the-
technical, are
Not
we?
the NIV version. But either way,
Nah, man.
I think I know what it is.
Nah, man. Are you ready?
Yeah,
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
that's Proverbs.
Miguel is correct
man.
on both.
Oh!
Oh, what?
Called that an ace, baby! Oh! Swish, swish.
And it also is from the Message.
Is it actually?
Yes.
3 points. Surely.
No,
Hey.
you don't get 3
No,
points.
no,
but
that's
that
gonna
was
be
good. That was
special.
good.
So, nah, okay.
Nah,
That's gonna
nah.
be 3 points.
Next quote is, the flower that blooms in adversity is the rarest and most
I know what this one
beautiful
is.
of all.
I know. I'm very excited. Can we go? Yes.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Tangled.
Mulan.
Oh.
CC is correct.
Yes!
And what?
Mulan.
It's from Mulan.
Oh.
The next quote is, sometimes the right path is not the easiest one.
I know where that's from.
Look, I feel like it's going to be the same situation
Sometimes
as
the
before.
right path is not the easiest path. Holy. Hey, that's another message one.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
another message one.
It's a message, for sure. Are you ready?
You guys
Yeah.
locked in?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Miguel is correct.
Yeah, baby, I got you.
What's it from?
No, wait. The right path is not the easiest one.
Sometimes the right path is not the easiest one.
I'm thinking.
Are you taking too long?
Cars 2.
That's wrong. CC, you can guess what movie it's from. I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4,
Stop looking on the
3.
side.
2,
Oh, I've got nothing.
1, nothing. It's from Pocahontas.
Oh, I actually haven't seen the movie.
Of course it is.
Actually, alright, I haven't seen the movie.
Okay.
Miguel really threw you off there.
He's mean. Does it to me a lot.
Whoever is slow to anger is better than the strong.
I know who said that.
I don't even want to talk to you right now.
I know who said that. Oh, wait, that's also from the Message translation.
You shush.
Are you guys ready? You got your
Yeah.
answers?
No.
3, 2, 1. You're both correct.
Thank
And
goodness.
Jesus said that?
Jesus said it.
Jesus did not say that.
No. Do you want to? What book of the Bible do you guys think it's from?
Can you please say that again?
Whoever is slow to anger is better than the strong.
Proverbs.
No.
Correct.
I read my book.
This one's worth 50 points, CC.
Nah.
No, it's not. It's
Nice.
not. It's
No,
not.
no,
It's
no,
not.
no.
Okay,
Come on.
last one.
Let's not cheat, man.
Words give life or words hurt. They're either poison or fruit. It's your choice.
Oh, see, now this sounds like it could be in a movie, but I have heard this almost variation in the Bible.
Yo, I'm not listening to anything you say because you keep trying to throw me. So I'm going with my own gut.
Yeah.
You guys locked in your answers?
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
Sorry.
You are both
Oh,
correct.
thank
Yeah.
goodness.
What book do you think it's from? First one to say.
Matthew.
Psalms.
Both wrong.
Luke.
Proverbs.
CC wins.
Ah. But anyway,
Good game.
hey, the score's gonna be at the bottom, but I don't even need to check it because I know I won that game. And that means I've won overall. Good job. Hey, you know what? You did so well. Thank you to all who played it as well in your seats. You guys are
Well done.
amazing. But let's go see what Buckle's up to.
Say hello to Joshua, one of the heroes of the Bible. And Joshua has just become the leader of the Israelites. For the last 40 years, while Moses was leading, the people of Israel had wandered around the wilderness for 40 years because they didn't trust God. But God didn't forget them, and the time had come for them to cross into the promised land. God had done a miracle and split the Jordan River so that the Israelites could cross into the promised land on dry ground, and they were now camped near a city called Jericho. But the people of Jericho had heard of the amazing things that God had done, and so they blocked the city. They shut all of the gates, and no one was allowed to enter or leave the city. One day, while Joshua was near the city of Jericho, he looked up, and there was a man standing before him holding a sword. Joshua said, "Are you on our side, or are you on the enemy's side?" The man said, "No. I am the leader of the armies of God. I have given you the city of Jericho. So here is what I want you to do. Gather your men together and walk around the city every day for 6 days. And then on the 7th day, walk around the city 7 times, and then have the priests blow trumpets and have the people shout as loud as they can, and the walls of the city will come down." And so Joshua gathered the priests together. They took the Ark of the Covenant, and they did as the Lord commanded. And on the 7th day, when they cheered and when they blew the trumpets, the walls came tumbling down. But when the Israelites took the city, they remembered their promise to Rahab, and they kept her and her whole family safe. God did a miracle and gave Jericho to the Israelites. How crazy that in this moment, when God is going to give the city of Jericho to the Israelites, God's strategy isn't to create ladders or to create ways to get over the walls to get into the city. Instead, God says, walk around the city. And not just once, but walk around the city every day for 6 days. Now, at this point, you're probably thinking, God, this is ridiculous. What are you talking about? Then he goes on to say, on the 7th day, I want you to walk around the city 7 times, and then your attack, the way you're going to do this is to yell as loud as you can and blow a trumpet. Now, to us, that seems ridiculous, because normally when you were trying to capture a city, you would either break through the gates or you'd build ladders to get over the walls. There's all these different man-made human ideas on how to take the city. But at this point, Joshua is like, I've just seen God stop a river from flowing. If God can do that, I'm just going to trust him and do what God says. And there's something really cool about that thought of, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it seems absolutely ridiculous, trust and obey God, and God does a miracle. In the book of Corinthians in the Bible, the writer actually specifically talks about this thought, about the thoughts of man and the thoughts of God. In 1 Corinthians 1:25, it's underneath me, it says this: "For the foolishness of God is smarter than the smartest of men, and the weakness of God is stronger than the strongest of men." Now, obviously, we know there's no foolishness or weakness in God because God is perfect. But what it's trying to say is, even if there was something that you would say is maybe the thing that God is the least good at, which we know there isn't, but even if there was, that is still miles ahead of what the best person could do. So even your best idea that you come up with on your own without God's help still is never going to be as good as God's worst idea, because God is perfect and every idea of God is perfect. And so even this foolishness of walking around a city for us would be ridiculous. Being one of the guards of Jericho, standing on top of the walls, looking down, waiting to see ladders, waiting to see people trying to break through, and they're just walking. Surely at some point you're going to start thinking, these people are foolish. They are ridiculous. There is no way they're going to capture the city by walking around it. But something amazing happens. Not because of the Israelites' ideas or strategy, but because of their obedience. God does a miracle and totally changes the outcome of that situation. You see, in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 22, it actually says this. It says, "Don't just be hearers of the word and fool yourself, but actually do what it says." In other words, when you hear from God, when God asks you to do something, don't just hear it and don't act on it. You've got to do it as well. We've got to trust what God says, but then we have to obey his commands. And that's how we see miracles. That's how we see God do the impossible in our lives. And so maybe for you watching right now, maybe you're in a situation that seems ridiculous. Maybe you're in a situation where you feel like it's hard to make friends. Or maybe you're somewhere where it's hard because people are being mean to you and you want to retaliate, you want to fight back, you want to do things that are mean because other people are being mean to you. What does God say? Well, God's way seems foolish. It says to be kind to those that are mean to you. That doesn't make sense. But that's what obedience is. Maybe your situation looks a little different. Maybe you're facing something that you can't figure out yourself. The answer is always to hear from God and that we would trust and obey. Because can you imagine if the Israelites had have said, "No, God, that's ridiculous. We're not going to do what you said." God wouldn't have been able to do a miracle because there wasn't obedience. But where there's obedience, then God can do a miracle. And so for you today, this is my challenge. This is what we need to learn today. It's the most important thing, that above all else, we need to trust what God says and we need to obey him. So write this down, put it somewhere you'll remember. We need to trust and obey.
So, Miguel, is that the first challenge that you've won that wasn't a video game?
It is. But you know what? I'm going to be humble about it.
Proud of you.
I'd like to thank my family. I'd like to thank everyone out there.
No, okay.
I'd like to thank the producers. Thank you,
Thanks,
Lockie.
Miguel. And don't forget, guys, if you want to rewatch any of our past challenges or videos, to head on over to our YouTube channel.
Don't forget to like and subscribe onto the YouTube channel. But I'm Miguel.
I'm Cece.
And we'll see you next time on The Link Show.
Show.
See you later.
Bye.